Hey folks, welcome to my first full video. This video is about Sparks, which is an exciting new shop in Bristol. It's actually something I've never seen before in this format, so I wanted to create a video and share my experience from when I visited yesterday. So firstly, what is Sparks? So I was actually visiting Bristol with my partner who was doing some work down there, and we wandered into the city centre and we came across this shop called Sparks. Sparks is a department store that is co-created by Artspace, Lifespace and Global Goal Centre. So this is a department store like you wouldn't normally expect it. There are still departments in it. However, it's actually run and collaborated by not-for-profit or community-based organisations, which is super exciting. I'll describe a little bit more in this video about what is inside the store, what to expect for anybody who either is visiting Bristol or is in Bristol. You'll kind of get a bit of an expectation of what to go and do and see. So on the ground floor, it's like your regular department store where you've got a range of different shops that are local and sustainable based products, and then there's also a lot of information and educational elements within the ground floor as well. And then on the first floor there's a space that's available for local artists and affordable studios, rehearsal and performance space. There are a couple of things that I really love about Sparks from my visit. Firstly, it's dog friendly. We were with our dog at the time, Eddie, and it's usually quite difficult to find places, especially shops, that will allow dogs in. And I don't think there's ever been a department store that's allowed us in with Eddie, so it was great that they have a dog-friendly policy as long as they're on a lead. Secondly, you see lots of different huge structures which are actually from TV shows or movie sets. That is just amazing in itself, seeing these really crazy structures that you wouldn't normally see inside of a department store. They're separating the departments. I think it's really clever. The third thing that I love about Sparks, there is educational boards all over the store. So as soon as you walk in, there's information about how to reduce your use of water and how much of an impact it has using a hose pipe on, for example. It's really engaging. You have to open the lid of water butts to find out how much water you're going to be using if you use a hose pipe. When you go to have a look at the energy section, there's information about how much it costs to microwave a jacket potato, for example, rather than putting it in the oven. It's just educating people so they can make smarter choices about how they're using energy. Also, I love engaging things. That's things you can physically touch and get involved with. Quite a lot of that in Sparks, whether that's from the kind of reuse, recycle element, where there's installation, where you can see how one artist has been able to develop products out of used CDs, and I absolutely love this. Actually, so much so that we ended up buying some of his coasters. They're super cool. You can see there just the different reflections and colours. So yeah, really excited by this because it's something that you don't even really consider. Where do all our CDs go? There's actually an installation there where you can bring along your own CDs that are old, stick them in the machine. We actually had a go, and then you can grind the CD up, and it then puts it into the base, and that will then end up going into either some coasters, stools, chairs. I love that kind of interactive element, especially when you're in an environment like a city centre where everything is all about look, buy, take. It's or absorb. It's nice to actually do something. And then the kind of final thing that I love about Sparks is it was so friendly. So from the first shop that we went into inside there, the first department, we got chatting to a lovely guy who runs one of the local stalls in there, chatting to another lady later on who was telling us a bit more about how Sparks has come about. Sparks was originally the Marks and Spencers of Bristol, but when it closed, obviously the building was going to be left empty, and it's a four-story, five-story building, I believe. So it's quite a big space to be left empty. And I'm sure that a lot of people watching this, if you're in the UK, will be very familiar with the fact that we have a lot of these due to Debenhams and other shops closing. So one of the things that they did here in Bristol is a couple of community groups were looking for some space, and this is where Artspace, Lifespace and Global Goal Centre got together to basically hire out the space with the council at an agreed rate, and it's on a temporary basis, so it's until they will find somebody else. But it's just an amazing use of that space where there's a lot of footfall in the city anyway, and then you've got lots of little local pop-ups and little local shops and sustainable shops as well. And like I said, it's that kind of mix really of engaging but being able to be sustainable, educating people. Yeah, it's just a very different way of doing shopping, and I love it. So let's talk about the departments. Quite a few different departments in there, like you'd expect in a normal store. The titles are maybe a little different to what you'd expect. You've got the Department of Imagination. So this is actually the space above the ground floor. So this is where there is bookable spaces for performances, rehearsals, and also an artist studio as well. That's not open to general public, it is bookable though. So that's the Department of Imagination. You've got the Department of Fashion, which is all sustainable and locally run businesses. A lot of them are actually like swap shops, so when you bring your old clothes in, you can get some other clothes. So yeah, it's like a really nice way of bringing kind of vintage into this kind of environment. Then you've got the Department of Gifts, which again is local sustainable gifts. We actually bought Eddie a new collar from there, but there's lots of little nice cute gifts that are again all sustainably and eco-conscious. Then you've got the Department of Reuse and Resources. So this is where you can shop for upcycled items with Erasmus, Bristol, and so you can bring in your old electronic items or your CDs, CD Recycle, which is amazing. Go and check it out, bring your old CDs. There's also a repair cafe, which is super cool. So if you've got an electronic device that's not working or broken, you can actually bring it into the repair cafe. I think it runs actually every Sunday. Definitely come along, bring your items, and you will learn how to repair them in the cafe, which I think is amazing because it just stops us throwing away things that actually can still work if we just knew how to fix them. Department of Nature, which have got lots of beautiful plants, nature inside a department store. You don't usually see that. Then you've got the travel agency department. Now this is a bit different to what you might normally find. Life-size model of the front of a bus inside the department store. And so, yeah, this was super cool. The kids were loving it, and also Ed and Eddie. And it just gives you information about public transport within Bristol, cycling routes, and just getting people to understand that there is a different way to get around the city than driving. There's also the Department of Energy. So actually this is the part that I really engage with quite a lot, and we watched a video, which I'll link to, which talked about a community-based energy project in Bristol. I think there's actually a few of them, but it's where the community is trying to come together to install a wind farm. That wind farm generates energy, which can supply the local area at an affordable rate, but then also the money that's generated from that energy can also go into community projects. And it's amazing. It's a complete flip on how our energy system works at the moment, where you have very small numbers of energy companies all making a lot of money and everybody's struggling to afford the energy. So there's information about that program and some of the things that they do, as well as other programs as well. And then there's a lot of education around how much it actually costs to heat food, to use your appliances at home. And there's lots of information there that you can kind of take away with you. So yeah, Department of Energy is great. The food and drink section wasn't open when I visited, but I know it's coming soon, so definitely worth checking out. And then finally, there's a refuse and e-waste department. The lady who I was talking to described to me that you can come in and basically donate your old electronic goods into the toaster, which I was a bit confused about until I saw it in the middle of the space. So what you can do is, rather than go and take your electronic waste to the skip, which a lot of what happens with the waste we give to the skip, it will usually get shipped off to another country if we can't do anything with it. And then you might find that sometimes you will, maybe if you've watched documentaries about what happens to our waste, you'll find that people are there in scrapyards basically pulling stuff out and then trying to pull it all apart for anything that's salvageable. But with a lot of these electronic goods, there's actually some really toxic chemicals that we're not really sure what the impact is. So in this department, what they do is they collect in any of the electronic waste you don't need. They will go and dismantle them in a safe way and teach schools about what's actually included in these electronic items. That's really it for my review of Sparks. A couple of closing thoughts from me, really. I mean, if you're in Bristol and you haven't been, visit it. It's in the old Marks and Spencer's. Arco into Bristol, I would definitely recommend adding it onto your list, especially if you've got kids, because it's very engaging for children. I hope to kind of see this approach really in other cities. We have so many spaces like this that are empty in city centres that could really be a nice, engaging space where families, adults, just people generally who want to make a difference and an impact on the environment and the world can learn more about how they can do that in a way, ask questions, and also shop sustainably. So, you know, it's a space that's already just sat there empty. So why not make it useful and give people a sense of empowerment and be able to actually take away and make some change? Is this a good idea? Have you got similar things in your cities that are like this? If so, please comment below, let me know. I'd be really interested to hear about what else we're doing in the UK around this, or even in the world. So yeah, that's it for my first video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the subscribe button. There'll be a lot more kind of content around travel and things like this. So I hope to see you again on the next video.